We already know that the Buddha had great and outstanding success in his mission of preaching the Dharma to save sentient beings. During his time on earth, he transformed his monastic and lay communities, causing thousands and thousands of people to attain enlightenment. He also subdued pagans, causing them to accept his teachings and become Buddhists. He also inspired many kings, ministers, and hundreds of families. Therefore, he was always respected, asked about the Dharma, and made offerings to him by monks, nuns, laymen and laywomen, kings, ministers, pagan teachers, and pagan disciples. What we want to find out here is what method did he use while interacting with so many elements. While still maintaining the gentle liberating style of someone who has calmed down all actions, has put an end to all born in the robe, has eliminated craving, achieved separation from greed, cessation, nirvana. As he clearly tells us, he has resided in internal emptiness, external emptiness, internal and external emptiness, motionless, as presented in the Great Emptiness Sutra, number 122, Central Nikaya Sutra. He said, these abidings, Ananda, have been completely enlightened by the Tathagata, that is, after not paying attention to all appearances, attained and settled in emptiness. And Ananda, while Tathagata resides in this residence, if there are bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, lay men, lay women, kings, ministers, and non-Buddhist disciples who come to see him, then, Ananda, the Tathagata and the mind tends towards renunciation, is inclined towards renunciation, is heavy on renunciation, lives alone, rejoices in renunciation, causes the cessation of all dharmas, based on which the defilements reside, speaks pure words in that place. It is related to encouragement. Thus, the world-honored one resided in emptiness, and thanks to residing in emptiness, he resided a lot. And with such personal experience, the Buddha taught his disciples this method of dwelling in emptiness very carefully and in detail, as clearly stated in the Great Emptiness Sutra. Before dwelling in emptiness, a bhikkhu needs to calm his mind, that is, he needs to practice meditation, attain first meditation, second meditation, third meditation, fourth meditation, which proves that wanting to stay inside is not effective. As a result, the practitioner needs to rely on the power of meditation. Only when you have the power of meditation can you stay in emptiness and have results. Then the practitioner must observe himself, while abiding in internal emptiness like that, is his mind interested? Pure in faith, abiding and oriented towards internal emptiness, external emptiness, internal emptiness, and motionless. If one's mind does not have joy, then the practitioner needs to stay, sit, concentrate and calm the mind on the nimitta mentioned before. This practice only ends when the fake person realizes that he or she resides peacefully in emptiness with a mind of pleasure, joy, pure faith, abiding and moving towards internal emptiness. The practitioner continuously abides in internal emptiness, external emptiness, internal and external emptiness, motionless, he is clearly aware like that. While he is abiding with this abiding, if he turns to walking meditation, with his mind abiding saying, while I walk in walking meditation, greed and sorrow, evil and unwholesome dharmas must not flow in. He must clearly realize that for himself. Likewise when he stands, sits and lies down, always in majesty. In every gesture, the practitioner must keep from greed and sorrow, evil and unwholesome dharmas flow in. While he is in this abode, if the practitioner speaks, he will not speak of useless and frivolous words. He does not talk about stories that are lowly, despicable, ordinary, unworthy of a saint, unrelated to the purpose, do not lead to renunciation, dispassion, cessation, peace, superior wisdom, enlightenment, nirvana. On the contrary, the practitioner said, speaking of austere words, opening the mind, leading to the one direction of renunciation, dispassion, cessation, peace, superior wisdom, enlightenment, nirvana, such as the theory of minimal desire, essay on diligence, wisdom, solitude, discussion on non-association, discussion on diligence, commentary on morality, concentration, wisdom, liberation, knowledge and view on liberation, he thought, I will speak such arguments. Here he is clearly aware like that. Again, while the practitioner abides with such abiding, thoughts arise in his mind, vitaka. He does not reflect on the levels of inferiority. Despicableness, ordinary people, not worthy of the saint, not related to the goal, not leading to renunciation, dispassion, cessation, peace, superior wisdom, enlightenment, nirvana, like thoughts of desire, thoughts of anger, thoughts of harm. On the contrary, he meditates on thoughts that have the ability to progress, guiding the thinker to completely eliminate suffering, such as thoughts of abandoning desires, thoughts of no anger, thoughts of harmlessness. He thinks, I will think like these types of thoughts. Here he is clearly aware like that. The practitioner consciously recognizes the 5 nourishing desires, kamaguna, that is, beauty, good sound, fragrance, delicious taste, and gentle touch. If the practitioner sees that he is still craving for these 5 nourishing, lovely desires, he is clearly aware that he is still craving for these 5 nourishing desires. On the contrary, while observing like that, knowing that his mind has no desire for the 5 nourishing desires, he is clearly aware that his mind has no desire arising for beauty, good sound, or fragrance, delicious taste, smooth touch. He is clearly aware that this is the case with regard to the 5 nurturing desires. As for the 5 aggregates of clinging, the practitioner needs to contemplate them in order to destroy them. This is form, this is the arising of form, this is the cessation of form. This is feeling, this is the arising of feeling, this is the passing away of feeling. This is perception, this is the arising of perception, this is the cessation of perception. This is formation, this is the arising of formation, this is the cessation of formation. This is consciousness, this is the arising of consciousness, this is the cessation of consciousness. While the practitioner abides in contemplating the arising and passing away of these 5 clinging aggregates, if any pride, as manana, arises towards the 5 clinging aggregates, that pride is destroyed. The event is like that. Then the practitioner understands as follows: if any pride arises in me, I will destroy that pride. Here he is clearly aware like that. Finally, the Buddha reminded the Venerable Ananda that those dharmas are pure, related to goodness, holy, transcendent, beyond the reach of evil. Those are the dharmas that reside in internal emptiness, internal and external emptiness, and immobility. Thanks to these dharmas, the practitioner practices the same way, so that even if people respect, revere, and make offerings to him, he will not fall into hell. At the end of this sutta, the world-honored one mentioned 3 cases of misfortune arising for teachers, for disciples and for practitioners of Pham Han. What is misfortune for the Guru? There was a master, only for non-Buddhists, who chose a remote place to stay, in the forest, under a tree. While living in such seclusion, he was surrounded by Brahmins, both townspeople and farmers, respectfully making offerings. That master's mind was heedless, he had lustful desires, he fell into lust, he arose in craving, he fell into a life full of material things, and he returned to a life of prosperity. Such is called misfortune for the masters, because the evil, unwholesome dharma, impurities, leading to rebirth, fearsome, leading to suffering, leading to birth, old age and death in the future, such dharmas attack the Guru. Such is the misfortune for the Guru. What is the misfortune for the disciple? The disciple imitated his teacher and chose a remote place to stay, in the deep mountains and forests. When living in such isolation, the disciple is surrounded by Brahmins, homeowners, townspeople, and farmers to respect and make offerings. That disciple was surrounded like that, his mind became infected, he fell into lust, his craving arose, and he returned to a prosperous life. This is called misfortune for disciples. Because the evil, unwholesome dharmas are contaminated, leading to rebirth, causing fear, leading to suffering, leading to birth, old age and death in the future, those dharmas attack. Disciple. Such is the misfortune for the disciple. What is the misfortune of fellow practitioners of Brahma Han? Here, the Tathagata appears as the fully enlightened Arhat. He lived a secluded life in a remote residence, receiving alms and respect from Brahmins, homeowners, townspeople, and farmers. He did not give rise to a contaminated mind, did not fall into lust, did not give rise to craving, and did not return to a life of prosperity. There was a disciple of the Master who lived a life of renunciation in a remote place. While living in such isolation, Brahmins, homeowners, townspeople and farmers surrounded him to respectfully make offerings. Being respected like that, the disciple became infected, fell into lust, gave rise to craving, and returned to a prosperous life. This is called misfortune for those who practice Brahman, because evil, unwholesome dharmas, fearful dharmas that lead to birth, old age, and death in the future attack them. Such is the misfortune for those who practice Brahman. Among these three misfortunes, the most dangerous is the misfortune for the Brahmahan practitioners, because first of all it is directly related to the Sangha of our Master. Next, the disciple who was already a disciple of the Master did not listen to the Buddha's teachings, did not practice according to the method of abiding in internal emptiness, internal and external emptiness, immobility, and finally arose. Polluted mind and greedy mind, fall into desires, and return to the prosperous life of a lay person. The impact of this disciple brought many harms to fellow practitioners of Brahman, as well as many misfortunes for himself. Therefore, in the end, the Buddha advised his disciples to treat him with a friendly mind, not with a hostile mind. In the spirit of friendship here, only the teacher, out of compassion, preaches the Dharma to the disciples, showing the path to happiness for the disciples. And the disciples here listen, do not focus in other directions, and do not stray away from the Master's teachings. In this sutra, treating him with a friendly mind is to abide in internal emptiness, in external emptiness, to abide in internal and external emptiness, to abide in immobility. Only by staying like that, when the disciple is surrounded by Brahmins, homeowners, townspeople and farmers, respecting offerings, the disciple will not change, will not fall into lust, will not arise. The mind is greedy. So there is no turning back from a comfortable life, no return to the world. Here, we witness all the Buddha's compassion for us, his monastic and lay disciples. Not only did he abide in internal emptiness, internal and external emptiness, and motionless emptiness to maintain the state of peace and liberation of a truly liberated person, he also taught that method to his disciples. Sir, to help his disciples avoid falling into the misfortune of fellow practitioners of Brahmahan. The meaning of the word no in this sutra is presented very clearly. All the reverence and offerings that surround the practitioner contemplates with internal emptiness, internal and external emptiness, immobility, that is, he practices the conduct of renunciation, the conduct of solitude, and the conduct of minimal desire. Contentment and the complete destruction of all dharmas, based on which defilements can arise, the practitioner completely eliminates those dharmas. This is the true meaning of the word no in the Great Emptiness Sutra.
Thank you for spending your valuable time on my channel journey to enlightenment. Wishing you a very peaceful and happy day. Don't forget to click like and subscribe to my support channel. See you in the next video.